There are various aspects of connected speech. We have covered some of them, like we talked about assimilation, and then we also talk about elision and overlapping and co-articulation, or maybe it's like the linking, right? So these are various types of aspects which are the part of connected speech. We need to know, not only descriptively, but also for the sake of transcription, and then also for the analysis of various processes. As the student of phonetics and phonology, we need to know that how connected speech aspects can be explored, right? So in this session, I'm going to tell you something more about the aspects of connected speech. All right. While discussing this aspect of connected speech, let me just tell you that articulation is a movement, all right? And that movement has some features as a movement, as a process, not as a static position, but as a process, right? Since phoneme is an abstract unit, and when it is an abstract unit, it lies inside your mind, okay? So that's an abstract unit, okay? And then in order to take that abstract unit through your articulators out and give it a physical shape, we are achieving some targets. And that targets are basically, those targets are allophones. Okay, there are various movements for the same single target, right? So in this case, a phoneme is an abstract entity, abstract phenomenon, and then the allophones are physical realizations, physical representations, right? That phoneme, which is an abstract idea, it is realized through several different ways, right? And those different ways are different allophones. And those allophones, basically, they are overlapping because a segment cannot be spoken in isolation. It is always, it is surrounded by various sounds, right? It may be in the beginning of it or maybe at the end of it. But that's the point, that co-articulation and, this overlapping, these are the features of connected speech, okay? Let me just give you an example, like the k sound in key and then also in cow. So the key and in the k in key and then k in cow, these are actually two allophones of k. Phonetically, these are different, but phonologically, we are just taking them as one single sound, right? So there is an overlapping. In key, k is influenced by the e vowel, and then in cow, k is influenced by the a vowel. So these are the features of connected speech. And then I can give you one more example, like the n in 10, right? And then the n in 10th, right? So in 10th, the n is more, dental, you see? And it is there below the n, the dental sign, the dental symbol which is given there. So these are the allophones of n. And there could be some extreme examples also, like the t in 10, right? It is aspirated. It is like t, right? If you can just put your hand in the front of your mouth, you can just, and carefully listen to what you are articulating in this word, 10, 10. So you can just, with careful analysis, you can feel the h addition to the t, which is aspiration, basically. And in transcription, it is written as a small h above the aspirated sound, right? So that is 10, but in word like button, right? In button, the t is altogether deleted, right? And another sound is put into it, which is a glottal stop. So it becomes button, button, basically, button. So there is no t at all. So that's a very interesting feature of connected speech. And as a phonetician, we must know that what is happening, right? So what type of, assimilation this is, basically, right? So it could be like intrinsic or extrinsic. Intrinsic, when from within something is influencing. And then extrinsic, when something from outside is coming in. Like in the case of green bus, right? So what is happening here is that the b, the bilabial feature of b is changing n into m, right? So that's an intrinsic, co-articulation, basically, or the feature of connected speech, or intrinsic allophonic feature, right? But in the case of this word, button, which is now button, so that is extrinsic, right? So these are gestural targets, movements. Articulation is basically the the aiming of those gestural targets, which are taken in connected speech as unit, and then those units are physically realized. They are analyzed further by a phonetician for giving you like the deeper level of analysis. And that's an important point. And we can further properly describe such a process when the connectivity is creating some features within various sounds. And that connectivity is to be analyzed by phoneticians. And that's an important requirement for the students of phonetics and phonology.